Okay, I wasn't going to talk about this because it was Zoro's birthday on November 11th. And so far, it seems like the only thing he got was an ass whooping, because King is whooping his ass right now. Now, be clear, most of us love Zoro, but let me speak for myself. I am loving the fact that he's getting his ass whooped right now. The thing people misconstrue, right, is that just because I'm enjoying Zoro getting his ass whooped doesn't mean I don't love Zoro. It just means that this is the struggle I want. This is the struggle I need for him to go through, because guess what? He's going to grow exponentially from this. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and honestly, there are times when you're bored and you're thinking about playing a game, but you want to play a quality game, and with Raid Shadow Legends you can have that, a quality game right in your pocket, because you can play this game on mobile and desktop, so you can play anytime, anywhere. So this game reminds me of Magi, the anime, where you're basically going around and conquering dungeons, but the champions we're going to focus on today are the orcs. So the orcs, they get a bad rap, okay? But in Raid, they're not all that bad. They were created by Dark Lord Sarath, and they have a really good reason to not like humans, okay? Because there was a brutal war fought against the Bannerlords, the High Elves, and Sacred Order. Their lands, they were annexed, forcing most orc clans to become nomadic. Now they're just trying to survive. They've allied with the Queen Eva of the Elves, but then they still don't know her true motivations. If you want to find out more, you gotta play the campaign for the full story. The orcs look really dope though. You can just see how much the orc is influenced by its tribe and the personality in each design. But there's a ton happening in Raid this month, okay? Special events every day, a bunch of awesome new champions, and the brand new Guardian ring that gives you a load of new ways to use your champions, okay? And at the start of December, Raid's releasing one of its biggest, most anticipated features ever. Just take a look at this. It looks insane with all these new updates and an even bigger one right around the corner. Now's the perfect time to get started in Raid. If you wait any longer, you're only gonna get left behind, buddy. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description or scan my QR code, right? And you'll get an epic hero, Konoru, who is amazing in a Dune Tower, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. And for all y'all as One Piece fans, you know all this treasure will be waiting for you here at this place, your inbox, okay? So first off, this video contains spoilers. If you cannot read, I'm telling you now, this video will contain spoilers from One Piece chapter 1032, okay? If you get spoiled, that's on you, my brother. But here we are, Zoro versus King. Let's go through exactly what's going on right now. So far, King has proven himself to be faster, stronger, you can't say smarter, but better defense, and just hella unpredictable, right? Because Zoro doesn't know what's going on right now because he doesn't know what King is. Now, we can go there if y'all want to, right? Where Zoro says he needs to know King's race before he can cut him down. Hey man, I'm not touching that. However, I understand where Oda is going with this. I think the thing here that's most important is that Zoro has to grow outside of just swordsmanship. We know Zoro's an amazing swordsman, but when someone is fighting like this, they have the aerial advantage, they have incredible defense, incredible offense, and of course Zoro is not quite at 100%. So in a situation like this, how do you overcome? King at this point is using everything in his arsenal, okay? He understands that not only can he fly, but he has attacks that Zoro cannot block, but he's able to block Zoro's attacks. The beautiful thing about this fight so far though is that Zoro is analyzing King every single interaction we see. He's looking at him, he's observing his movements, observing his strength, and he's trying a bunch of different things, ranged attacks, even his great dragon twister. He thought he had it in the bag, but King used his wings to block. But Zoro's asking questions saying, oh, you're just like a dragon, right? You're a big lizard with a tough hide. And he's like, well, you're not quite wrong, but I'm on another level. I'm different, which is telling us that Zoro is trying to discern exactly what King is, exactly what he needs to do to be able to overcome someone like this. This feels like Zoro's Katakuri fight. That's what it feels like. It's something that's put in place for him to grow exponentially because right now King is dominating. Okay, yes, Zoro cut his mask off and it seems like Zoro had some momentum, but King just halted all of that. And for you guys to add to my momentum, you can subscribe to the channel right now, okay? Drop a like, turn on post notifications. I would certainly appreciate that, but we got to get back to this King versus Zoro fight because it's everything I wanted. King being dominant, Zoro struggling because we know he will grow by the end of this fight. In Luffy versus Katakuri, something that I loved, something that I admired was the fact that Katakuri was stunned. Katakuri was flexing. right? And you enjoy that in certain circumstances. With Katakuri, he was so confident that he was using Luffy's attacks but making them better. The one we remember vividly is when Luffy used Gear 3rd and Katakuri used a bigger fist. But the one that sold me was when he used the Gatling, but his Gatling was honing in on Luffy. Like they were going to one central point where Luffy's Gatlings is just random. Katakuri's Gatlings, Luffy was feeling every single punch. And so while I enjoy the King flex in the chapter, my issue with it is that it feels unnecessary. And again, we'll cover that more in the breakdown. I just didn't like it as much. It felt a bit random based on what King had said chapters ago about, swordsmanship and doing whatever it takes. But I understand. You get cocky, you get to a point where you're saying, bro, I got this. Like Zoro is not any competition. I'm going to go to his arena, somewhere where he's confident because I'm stronger than him there as well. I'm loving the analysis because he's pointing out that King hasn't dropped any blood, right? He has movable wings, but he hasn't seen him fly with them. So for him, he's still thinking that the fire is from his devil fruit, but King is a special race. Now Zoro's saying he doesn't think he can beat King until he knows what he is. It's apt, but it's also a way out. For us, we always thought Zoro could overcome anything with strength and power and just straight up will. But something that we know for a fact Zoro has already experienced is the breath of all things. Understanding what it is so you know what to cut. I think it will 100% come into play, or it's straight up going to be Enma going ham. Which one do I prefer? I would love for it to be Zoro using the breath of all things again, as opposed to Enma, because the conversation around that. I understand. Enma is going to aid Zoro. Enma is reacting right now to Hiyori's music, which could mean Amina Habikuri is close, or just because Hiyori used to play the music for her dad and her dad owned Enma. I don't think it's that deep, but it's gonna play a part because it's reminding Zoro, hey, you have this sword, use it. In the King fight in particular, there hasn't been any explosive attacks like we saw on the rooftop where Zoro is channeling his aura through Enma. Maybe he's controlling it better so he can dictate when to use it, or maybe Zoro's holding back because he understands, hey, I have a time limit based on my body right now, so I don't want to overexert myself. I'm gonna say right now, Zoro, you gotta overexert because King is not letting you off the hook, and right now you're getting your ass whooped. So now here's the question. How can Zoro possibly win? Why does this matter? Listen, to beat your opponent, typically, you wanna understand your opponent. It's never been a true focus of One Piece. There are things in which it highlights with Luffy with Crocodile and the sand and the moisture, but for the most part, it's always been about will. At the end of the day, even after you understand your opponent, it's about will. That is why this is Zoro's Katakuri fight, because for Luffy, he couldn't just overcome it with will. The gap was too large. He had to figure out what was going on. Now, in Luffy's case, he got a break because Katakuri thought it was over, Merienda, and then Luffy found out his secret, but he also grew in regards to future sight. If that opportunity didn't present itself, Luffy would have lost because he wouldn't have understood Katakuri's secret, how Katakuri operates, what Katakuri was doing to be quote unquote invincible. For Zoro, he's not understanding how King is, 1, not dropping any blood, 2, flying, 3, the meaning behind the flames, and 4, exactly what he is. I'm seeing some people not liking the fact that Zoro needs to know what he is before he can win, but I think the apt thing here is Zoro needs to understand him more before he can win, because right now he's just throwing out attacks, seeing what works, but understanding how King operates. What if his fire is HP, right? What if his fire is stamina? What about his wings? If I cut them, how do they work? He's not using them to fly, but he's using them to block. So they are usable. What's the secret behind that? Also, why isn't he bleeding? Is there another way to tell that he's hurting? Again, not the blood, but the flame. So for Zoro, what if you cut the flame and that affects his stamina? At that point, he's going to use his flame cutting techniques. As old people say, there are multiple ways to skin a cat, all right? And for Zoro, he's trying to figure out different ways in which he can overcome this opponent, which I love. People, this is not a bad thing. Zoro has been running through the New World and hasn't been challenged in this way in a long time. The only person you can somewhat say is Fujitora, but that wasn't a fight. That was a quick clash back and forth, boom. This is a fight in which Zoro is clearly the underdog, and King is now flexing. Like I said, King has the overwhelming advantage. Aerial combat, I can defend your attacks, you can't defend mine. Speed, strength, defense, every single thing, but he's choosing to come down and be a swordsman. He's choosing to come down and brawl in Zoro's arena. That's how confident he is, which is a problem for Zoro because now he's breaking his confidence. I think that could be part of the reason why Enma is reacting, where he's like, I don't think I can win unless I know what he is. So because his will is weakening, Enma is taking back or taking taking some of his stamina, taking some of his aura. So Zoro has to find himself again, ground himself, and I think that music is exactly what he needed to wake up a little bit. But again, Enma could just be reacting to the music, okay? This is One Piece, we speculate, we have fun, that's what it's about. But finding out about King is going to tie into this. Now, the breadth of all things, it was always about cutting what you want to cut, then not cutting what you don't want to cut. So in this instance, with King and his body and this race, it could be a situation where Zoro has heard about the race, right? Where he sees a tattoo, where he sees a mark, and he remembers something from back then where he noticed, or maybe Kozaburo, someone from the village, talked about an ancient race and the secrets that they have. That's happened in so many different anime where we have a flashback and they knew exactly what they needed to know at that time. We followed Zoro, but we don't know every single interaction he's had in his life. Maybe someone told him about this ancient race back in the day, or maybe something will stand out the more King reveals himself, meaning the mask, the bodysuit, the spandex, all of it comes off, and Zoro's like, oh, now I understand, because there's a secret to King. The fact that he isn't bleeding. Remember, King was fighting Marco as well, and we thought Marco was whipping his ass. There is no blood. How does he bleed? What does he bleed? And how does it show that he's being affected? Needless to say, Zoro is going to grow exponentially from this, learning new ways to overcome opponents, learning new techniques, using Enma better. One thing that we talked about, once Zoro masters Enma, he will be unstoppable, or he will be much stronger. With this happening, it's clear that he hasn't mastered Enma yet. This should not be happening where Enma is affecting him in this way in the middle of a fight. But of course, we don't know exactly the reason. It could just be Hiyori, right? And that's something that's unexpected. But I welcome this, love this, accept this, because this is how our favorite Marimo grows. Listen, I'm impressed with King. I know at the start of the raid, it didn't seem like he was that impressive, right? There was so many people downing him, so many people that were saying Zoro would low diff him, that he wasn't a challenge, so many different things. And now King, he made Zoro say the words that I don't think I can beat him unless I know what he is. That is scary. And for Kaido to have someone like this on his crew, in addition to someone like Queen with his technology and all the different gadgets he has, and then Jack, a freaking undead soldier like him, Kaido is stacked. And not to mention, if Yamato fell in line with the Tobiropo, man, Kaido has a squad. We need to talk about the strongest crews in One Piece and see where we stand, because this is wildly impressive. Now, we got to see how this concludes, but so far so good. Or to keep it going, let Zoro struggle. This is great for him. He has pretty much cakewalked through the new world, but it's no fault of his. He just fights who's in front of him. Now there's someone in front of him who got his head in the ground. It's your move, Zoro. How you gonna respond? I expect him to respond, but this is the push we needed and wanted for him, okay? But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about this fight so far? How do you think Zoro overcomes King? Because I think he has to figure him out. And that's what I love. It's not just overall boot strength. He's gonna have to figure him out. And of course, will come into play, but analysis, that's key here, okay? So give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Again, guys, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite